Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We are discussing put a ring on it. If you like what you see, put a ring on it. If you like, okay, got my little makeshift ring. But anyway, look, so housekeeping rules. Please don't forget to like the video. Thank you all. You're all keeping your sister together. I want to say, more importantly, drop a line. Tell me what you think. What you think about what I've said. What your opinions are, what kind of insight you're getting from it. I really do like to go back and forth with people in the comments. We can disagree, but we can do that respectfully. I don't think everybody's going to agree with my point of view, but I would love to hear and read other points of views. That's what makes the world go round. This show really is bottom line about communication. And last but not least, if you haven't subscribed, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Let's get your sister 2K. All right, so let's start. So the title of this episode is Family Matters. I believe this is part 1. And then this is episode 6, right? Yeah, this is episode 6, y'all. So we're kind of coming back off from last week where we're doing the round table after the dates they had. And I believe we were still on Charly and Otis. And Otis had revealed last week that he had started, DMing Milan. He had not started. We don't know. We just know that they've started contacting each other outside of the dates, and that was against the rules they had made for each other. So immediately, sis, she's mad. Like, she really mad. And I had said last week that, look, this is where you teach people how to treat you. Like, if you're really going to act that mad, like, I want my keys, I'm going, then sis, you better follow through, or else he's going to do ×2 next time without any repercussions. But anyway, this week we see that Dr. Nicole tries to calm the situation down, said, look, you guys came here for a particular reason, don't walk away. And Dr. Nicole did make one important point. She says, the aim of the exercise in general, the aim of the exercise really is to allow, or what's important is to allow your partner to be themselves. You want them to act and behave exactly how they would be, and that will really tell you if you guys have shared values. Because it's one thing to try and say you want to control someone to do your bidding or to do your will, but that means they're doing what you want. But does it mean it comes second nature to them? Do you want to force someone, force a square into a round hole for 10 months? And then you stop forcing it, then you wonder why it's not going through, because you forced it. So really, you don't want to create an artificial relationship or artificial, harmony. And then the minute you're not putting all the pressure, then you complain that you're not getting the results you want. So, let them be who they're going to be, and then see if that works with your values and with who you are, as opposed to trying to force them to be something else. So of course we get to the part where, you're going to go on a second date. So, after all the palaver that, Otis, of course, you're going to go on a second date with, Milan. He says no. And of course, Dr. Nicole asked, like, oh, what do you think about that? Charly, like, she don't care. He already done. Like, he already, like that. And I do get her point there. She's like, he's already contacting her anyway. So whether they meet for a date or not, they're still speaking. So I don't care either way. Like, bring it on. And she says she's not going to go, she don't want to have another second date with Brent. Actually, it was a third date, I believe, because she's already had, she'd had 2 dates. So she refused a third date. So it's a third date, I believe, so she's refusing a third date with Brent. And so she's like, Dr. Nicole, bring it on, get me a date. Like, she's mad. And, I guess maybe she's taken so much, she's got to the point where she's really mad. Dr. Nicole reveals, the assignment. And the assignment this week is to, meet up with a family member and find out the impact they've had on you and how that impact affects you in relationship, how that translates into your relationship. So likely a parent, one of the parents, because you really can tell who people are by looking at their parents. It is what it is. So that's the assignment for the week. So, she gives them assignments, they, so Otis and Charly, I don't even know what happened with, Otis. 1 second they were together, next second I don't know if he went to the bathroom. Charly just took keys and left. Like, Charly left. I guess you're trying to make a point. She left him, But to me it's like, Charly, I'm with you on this. I get where you are. I get what you're saying. But I think particularly for this, like, all this grandstanding is going to be useless or worthless if you don't hold your ground, hold your stand, hold the wall, like Game of Thrones, if you don't hold the wall, this grandstanding is just what I'm saying. It will just be grandstanding, it will just be great TV, but nothing's going to change. So you're really going to need to hold your wall and really figure out, what are my boundaries? And now that's where I'm going to hold my wall. Like, I'm not going to budge. This is what's important. If you don't meet this minimum, then there's no point. So sis, create your boundaries and respect your boundaries. Because if you don't respect your boundaries, he's not going to either. And this is not just to say, okay, yes, I'm talking to Charly, but I think that's it. That speaks for all of us. All of us at one point or another, have either not created boundaries or we haven't respected our boundaries. And people are not going to respect what you don't respect. They're going to follow. They'll know it's wrong. They know they're hurting you. They know you're coming up short. But if you don't speak up for yourself, they're not going to speak up for you, because ultimately, as humans, we are self-serving. So first scene here of the exercise, Otis sits down with his dad. His dad was married to his mother for 40 years. She's now late. And so you just kind of get talking about relationships. They had a great relationship. What's the secret? And that goes on, talks about respect, a mutual respect that they had for each other, and then listening. Simple as that. He boiled it down. I mean, it sounds as simple, but it's not simple. And then, of course, Otis had mentioned that a lot of the time, Charly says that he doesn't listen, but he feels like he's listening, but she doesn't know that he's listening. And then, Dad says, well, then it's your responsibility to make sure that she knows that you're listening. I like that the dad is really trying to give him some wisdom and not just supporting. I believe, as the head of the household, as a CEO of a company, as a parent, what position you hold, or any leadership position you hold, you dictate and you can predict the energy that's going to be in that space, because lead by example. Be what you want your followers to be. Be what you want your wife to be. Be what you want your kids to be. You know how we say when kids they do what they see, not what we say. So leading by example. So it's like, son, if this is what you want respect, give respect. You want to be listened to, listen to her. If she feels like she's not being listened to, it should be your primary duty to make sure that she knows that you're listening to her. I think that's great advice. And of course, Otis being Otis, he's a fighter, so he asks his dad, how do we go about not fighting? And Dad tells him two simple things. And I think that resonated with me, because that's big for me too. It's like, don't raise your voice and listen. I think the biggest thing for me that really resonated was don't raise your voice. For me, if you're yelling at me, I can't hear you anymore. I'm probably going to bring the defensive. I'm going to shut down. It's just, I'm not, you can be making a wonderful, excellent point that I otherwise would have heard if you spoke to me in even tone. But if you're raising your voice and yelling, and I know this about myself, and I always say this, is I think anything can be said to, a friend, a partner, but it's all in how we say it. So there's a disagreement. If you're yelling, all bets are off. I can't process that information. So I feel like Dad's points they work for me. I don't know what works for other people, but definitely don't raise your voice. And of course, listening. There is a temptation sometimes in the midst of an argument to just be listening to respond, but listen to understand. And I'm saying that to myself now. Listen to understand, don't listen to respond. Particularly if this is a relationship that's important to you. Because some of these things may not come firsthand. It may not come natural, but if the relationship is that important to you, then you want to start developing great habits to really make sure your relationship is going the distance, that you're building the pillars, you're building the foundation of a strong relationship, and you're not just being in a relationship just to endure it. All right, so looks like the day of Charly has another date with someone, and she put on a hot number. I think in the past she's always dressed somewhat casually, understated, but now she's mad. She put a freakum dress on and she sit down. She makes sure that Otis can see her. So she's sitting down, say, Otis, check me out. This girl, what are you doing? So of course, Otis is trying to put into practice what his dad taught him. So he's trying to break down. So how do you feel about this? So what do you think? Otis' energy couldn't carry everything. Like, you know, maybe, I don't know, the camera, I don't know how long they were filming for, 5 minutes, and Otis like, yeah, he couldn't take it. Well, he was done. Like, all his good efforts are just wasted. Of course, this is a new habit he's trying to form, so it's not coming easy to him. It's not second nature to him. So he's going to have to work on it. But you know, I believe he just ran out of steam and stopped trying to. Because first of all, he wanted to apologize. He's repeating what she said. He's trying to listen. He's trying to address what she's saying. He's trying to validate her feeling and show that he's listening. So Charlie's getting ready for a date. He didn't come to the house this time, I guess, you know, something different. So they meet outside, close to the restaurant they're meeting at. Her date is Chris, aka Odell Beckham Jr. Like, I'm like G, my G, like you Odell Beckham's Jr. brother, you know, love child. Like, I don't know. Like, he's trying to be a mini-me. I'm not sure if they're related, they're cousins. We just have Chris, we don't have her last name. But anyway, that's who he is. And his opening statement isn't, you know, I went to Stanford or I did this. His opening statement is, yeah, he's dated a woman with a boyfriend and it was fun. Yo, if that wasn't a red flag, I don't know what is. Like, you see me looking around. I'm looking for a red flag right now. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Red flag. Okay, like he said, that was fun. That's and also it could really depend on the questions. You know, they were asking him. They probably asked him, have you been in this situation before? All right, I'm like, sis, run. So he sits down with her. They meet. They think they're both mutually attractive. He comes out with, oh, he went to Stanford. Okay, so he sounds like, you know, he can rub, you know, 2 pencils together and create some sentences. And then I believe he played football in college. She's like, okay, good for you. And then he goes on to spit out his part of his resume about, you know, dating somebody with a boyfriend. And herein, this is no longer a question, because I don't think, you know, Charly asked him that question. Herein lies, okay, yo, now this is definitely a red flag, people. Red flag, red flag. You know, let's do this. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Just run. And then somehow, in the midst of their conversation, they're having drinks, they're talking, clearly they're both mutually attracted to each other. He gets, I don't know, somehow they get to his girlfriend, the topic of his ex-girlfriend, who, I think it came up because she said she went to FAMU. And then there's some connection with his ex-girlfriend. I believe his ex-girlfriend went to FAMU. So she's asking why they break up, and he goes on to say that, yeah, it broke up because she has a high sex drive. Then he goes on to talk about some threesomes. Sis, so right there. This guy's for the streets. Stop the tape. Get up, carry your jacket, and go. This guy is for the streets. Mess around and go hurt yourself. This is why some women will say the devil they know is better than the one they don't. This dude is... Yeah. This is the first date with the cameras rolling. What's he going to say on a third date with no cameras? So later on, some days later, Charly and Otis meet up for their own date. They decide to have a private date to rehash issues, talk. He wants to practice some of the skills his dad had taught him about listening, communicating, making sure that she understood where he was coming from, just trying to be more understanding, possibly showing some respect. You know, some of these new tricks that apparently he wasn't aware that he was meant to be applying in a relationship. But once again, the minute she's trying to, I guess, almost give him a reflection that this is why you offended me, I need you to be accountable, I need you to acknowledge what you've done, and maybe apologize. And halfway through, brother, like, he say he don't want to talk anymore. He say he's done. And then 1, 2, 3, before he say Jack Robinson, he up at the table, he gone. But we are seeing another side of Charly. Charly is, like, if you think about the Charly from the first episode where he threw her flowers in the trash can and she was just kind of looking at him, she's mad now, she's speaking up. You know what they say, nothing worse than when a woman's fed up. Like, she getting to fed up. She's not fed up yet, but she's getting there. That's a good sign, because then she's going to demand for what she wants and not accept anything less. So going on to the next couple, Alfie and Shay. So we're finally rehashing at the round table the date they had. We know after the disastrous date she had had a private emergency session with Dr. Nicole, but they're now rehashing it in front of the other couples. And Shay go ahead and say that the reason, she's breaking down that, she's starting to tell why she was triggered and what went wrong, that he walked in there and didn't greet her. Sis, if that's like okay, so I don't understand, and maybe you guys can help me understand. You left the house where he was there, and he had told you, ooh, this is a hot dress, maybe you said all that. You'd seen each other maybe 30 minutes ago, but you said that you were wilding out and you were triggered because as soon as he sat down, he didn't say hello to you. I think the whole point of the exercise was to focus on your date. And if you had let's take a word for it. So she was feeling triggered that he didn't acknowledge her. This would have then been something where you would have addressed him later on in the evening. That, hey, babe, when we had that double date earlier on, I felt some kind of way when you didn't say anything to me. And he would have said, oh, blah, boom. But you just acting like you were doing an episode of Love and Hip Hop maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to parlay this into, a post or a spot on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Because maybe they're recruiting. I don't know. Like, if that's what you want for yourself, fine. But if that's not what you want for yourself, then you're going to need to shape up. Because this is not it. Shay, this is not it. And I'm back at you again. I tried to rearrange and reshuffle so I won't have this energy, but Shay, this is not it. Like, no. And then you go on further on, you're talking with Dr. Nicole, and you say something about my spouse done. And I know you said this before. And then Dr. Nicole quickly catches on, because that's the first time you say in front of Dr. Nicole. Dr. Nicole says, Shay, what did you say? She said something about spouse. But she says, spouse? Why are you using the word spouse? And she said, well, we're boyfriend and girlfriend and we're about to be married, so he's my spouse. It's one of two things here. Either my good sis don't know what the meaning of spouse is, or when we use the word spouse, what it's making reference to two people who are married, or these people are married secretly already and these people are just playing TV for us. It's one of two. And I can't say which one it is, but the truth always comes out. What happens in the dark always comes out into the sunlight, into the day. Is because she keeps saying spouse. Like, I know she knows that spouse means we're married. Why are you claiming a man when he's not even met your minimum? He has not met your minimum criteria. His mother hasn't acknowledged you, but you're calling him your spouse. Ladies, please have your standards. Have your standards. Because now he's feeling like the most wanted thing on the planet, because he's not even doing your bare minimum and you're claiming him. But is he claiming you? Ladies, hold on to your standards. Hold the line. Like he didn't. I'm not going to stick on this week. So anyway, in the midst of this, apparently as Dr. Nicole is correcting her, she's getting a little defensive. Dr. Nicole's trying to coach her and like, do this, do that. Then she mentions to Dr. Nicole that, he emotionally depletes her, but expects to be, poured into every aspect of his life. I have a very simple remedy for that, Shay. Return his energy. That's all. Return his energy. Like, if he's not pouring into you, why are you pouring into him? The thing is, there are consequences and repercussions as adults and children. If somebody's not doing what you need, don't sit there and act like it's not happening. Communicate, let him know. If he's acting like he doesn't understand, then show him what his actions look like. Return his energy. If it's for you, he'll figure it out and come to you. If it's not for you, if he's for the streets, then like, good riddance. Like, life is too short. Our lives are too precious. You are too worthy to not think much of yourself and to accept anything less. I'm not just talking to Shay, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, I'm talking to us, I'm talking to anyone listening to me. I'm not just talking at you. We're talking together. Like, yo, if you can't see what you're worth, nobody else is going to see what you're worth. And baby girl, I don't think you can see what you're worth. And all the while, in the middle of all of this, homeboy's laughing. And I don't know if homeboy's laughing because, it's a nervous laugh, or, he doesn't know what to do. But he's laughing all the same. And she's talking about, he's laughing, he's hurting my feelings, but he's still laughing. So she asked the question, you're going to go on a second date with Asa? That's to Shay. She didn't have a first date. Like, she was about to start, racking with someone like 10 minutes into the date. So there wasn't a date. So she says no. You don't know him. I don't know what you said no to. Of course, you want to go on a date. She asked, what's his name? Alfie, Rick Ross 2.0. Oh, Rick Ross want to be that bra. You want to go on another date with Tisha? He says no. Like, he don't want to. She was, doing too much and fighting. She didn't do nothing. She was simply there to defend herself. She didn't stand up and hold that plate till, Shay came towards her. And she wanted to show Shay she was about that life, that she wasn't the one. I can't fault Tisha for anything she did at that point, because she was still seated until Shay was charging towards her. Everybody know, like, you don't even need to be from the streets. You don't need to be from Bowen Homes to know that somebody charging for you. If you're seated, stand up and pick up the quickest. Like, this is the ABC of self-defense. You don't get knocked. You don't sit down to get knocked off a chair. You stand up. Now, I do not support or condone violence or bullying of any sort, but I'm still saying defend yourself. So anyway, next scene, Shay doing the exercise with family, just trying to see, the effect your family has on you and how it parlays into your relationship. And, she invites her mom and her aunt over. She kind of tells them what the problems are, and we know what the problems are. Like, Alfie's family doesn't acknowledge her, particularly his mother. Like, she's his fiance, she's his girlfriend of 3 years. Like, the mother pays her dust, and Alfie doesn't do much about it. And, her mother, and that's Shay's mother, says, you know what, I had something similar like that with your father and with your stepfather, and I had my boundaries, and if he didn't meet those boundaries, he wouldn't get nothing in return. And it worked. Same thing. Shay's not holding the line. And I know things have changed. We as women have lowered our standards and our expectations, so men are barely meeting up or keeping up because there are no standards. So they're pretty much, getting away with everything. I mean, didn't what homeboy say, just to quickly jump back to Odell Beckham Jr. wannabe, didn't he say that part of the reason why he was single was because there was too much choice? Yeah, he had a choice, so he could be or do whatever he wanted to be, like, without any regard. Women are not holding up the line. They're not requiring standards, or they don't have requirements for these guys. They just want to be in their presence. So her aunt asked her a key question, that long term, how long can she sustain this? Not really being involved in his family, or not being respected, or not getting respect from his family as his partner. And she was like, probably not for very long. And then, aunt asked her, so why are you there? And just to paraphrase, it looked like Shay's response is the response of many women. They're just too scared to start again. She didn't want to walk away and start again. Why not? You're a young lady. If you're not getting what you want, you're wasting more time staying than if you left to start again. And I am simplifying it, but it's true. If she's had 3 years of just a miserable relationship, that's 3 years of her life she's wasted. That's 3 years of something that's probably not for you, keeping you away from something that is for you, where you could be preparing for what God has for you. You now have somebody occupying the space occupying the space that the real person should be in. So now that real person for you can't come. Anyway, they end the conversation, and Shay feels comforted and said she feels like they've given her permission to leave if she needs to. Says she didn't need their permission, but I'm happy you got it. Maybe this, I hope to see a difference, a little, something in your step, some self-confidence, because you give great face, and she seems strong on the outside, but she's taken a lot. Okay, so now going on to Kenneth and Shorty. We kind of go round table discussion in terms of, okay, you know what, Kenneth, you're going on another date with Central. He said he's not interested. Of course, Dr. Nicole will always ask what the partner thinks. Hey, you know what, Shorty, what do you think? And Shorty don't care. She's like, y'all need to get him somebody that he's attracted to. Shorty trying to shake off this dead weight quick. She trying to get rid of him. Like, I don't know if it's just playing, but I feel like she's trying to tell us something. Like, she came to the show to attempt to get rid of, Ken. That's what it looks like to me. So anyway, she's saying no to a second. Actually, no. She said, sorry, forgive me. He said no to Central. She said yes to another date with Tabby. She said yes. Shorty trying to send a message. Like, bruh, Kenneth, if you don't see it, it's because you don't want to see it. You have your head buried in the sand. What are those animals that hide other than rabbits? That just kind of bury their head in the sand. What bird is it? Ostrich? I believe it's an ostrich that buries its head in the sand. Just don't want to pay attention on purpose. Like, you just don't want to see it. And you break that down. They need to put him in. I think Dr. Nicole needs to have a one-on-one with them as a couple and a one-on-one with them separately. Because I feel like this is the most damaged couple. Like, they're really toxic to each other. Like, he got something going on and she got something going on. And I don't even want to say one is more than the other. They're equally guilty, equally toxic. Like, we throw around this word toxic all the time. But for real, this particular time, they really bring out the worst in each other. That's what I think. And I give Shorty credit. She's trying to shake him off, but she can't get rid of him. So, the next day, this is Shorty and Kenneth. He decides to make breakfast. He said, let's make breakfast and have a date later on and just remember the good old times, remember why we're in love. Like, he just wants to live in the clouds. Like, he doesn't want to live in reality. He's a dreamer. And there's nothing wrong with being a dreamer. But you can't be a dreamer and then be with a realist and wonder why you guys are not meshing. They're not meshing because they're quite different. Or he also needs to add on to his repertoire. He needs to add on to his resume in that, yes, he can be a dreamer, but he also has to have a practical side, a balance. It's the same thing like someone who's extremely practical. You want to bring them in and make them a little softer, maybe make them more romantic. It's the same way he needs to be more practical and not less romantic, but have a time and place for that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with being a dreamer, but you're with a woman who's a go-getter. You like her because she's a go-getter. Well, she needs some go-getting from you. Like, it's give and take. So anyway, Shorty said we need to talk. So if we're going to go on a date and not ruin our date, let's talk right now. He's like, we don't have anything to talk about. A big sign that this guy is an ostrich. He's got his head in the sand. You don't have anything to talk about? Just 24 hours ago, sis told, 7 other people and a camera crew that she was out of your league. My bruh, I don't know if there was anything to talk about, it would be this. Because that means so many things. She feels like you, I don't want to use the word, but she feels like you're beneath her. She feels like she's better than you. She feels like you're a nobody. She feels like you're not going anywhere anytime soon. You're taking the express train to nowhere in a hurry. Like, she doesn't want you. Like, when you attack a man's livelihood or manhood, the manhood is connected to his livelihood or connected to his, his third leg, stuff like that. When you attack a man like that, you're trying to draw blood. And when you're trying to draw blood, you're trying to draw blood to destroy. You're not trying to pet him. She's trying to be done with you. She's trying to create a cut so deep that you will run. But all she could really do is, muster up some strength and just say, I don't want to be in this anymore, as opposed to cutting you. And you stay there for reasons best known to you and continue to get cut. And you continue to bleed. And there's blood on the floor. And eventually when she leaves or when you leave her, you're going to be so damaged, it's going to take an act of God to get your healing. Kenneth, she doesn't want you, and I'm not criticizing her for not wanting you. I think I'm criticizing her for cutting you. Because she, in her way, and I think in her way, she thinks if she cuts you, the pain will chase you away. But then you're trying to do Tarzan and be brave and receiving the cuts. You don't need to be cut. Love doesn't hurt. That's what they say. They say love doesn't hurt. Like, it shouldn't hurt. Like, she shouldn't have to put you down in front of other people. I mean, sometimes couples have disagreements, but the way she's put you down and you're asking, like, what do we need to talk about? Sir, come on now. Have a little self-respect for yourself. And of course, I would love to see, and I don't know if there's going to be any honest interaction with you and any family members to see why you are the way you are. Why you're okay with someone putting you down. Why you don't have any, you don't put your foot down, you don't speak up for yourself, and you just take it and take it and take it and take it. I want to see why. Do you come from a family of I don't know. It's like, what's happened to you? Who has hurt you or made you feel like this is what love looks like? Like, love looks like pain. Like, people sometimes feel like love is synonymous with pain. It's not. They're two opposite things. There's pain here and there's love. Like, no, please, no. And once again, I'm not saying you got your issues too. Like I said, you're both equally wrong. Not one, not more than the other. Because I'm gonna start delving into your Tinder tactics again. The Tinder stuff you were doing, like, bruh, like, you straight, like, I need to get criminal code for you. Like, you know, we Nigerians say 419. That's a criminal code. Like, my dude, nah. Yahoo. I don't know, that's a side hustle for you. I know you call yourself an entrepreneur, but Yahoo could be, you know, side hustle for you as well, because you went straight for that lady's bank records quick without a thought. So anyway, they get their quick conversation during breakfast, and, you know, Charly says some, you know, paraphrase, he don't have his ducks in a row, but why does he want someone who has her ducks in a row? How does he want what he wants, what he can't give? That when you, and I mean, that's something, not in their situation, but they always tell people that, you know, what you're looking for in someone, you should have in yourself. Like, you want a well established woman, but you're not established. Like, why, you know, where they do that at? And then she said something ridiculous. She said that he resents her because she's out of his league. Sis, like, you're confused. You mean the reverse. You know how we project? You resent him because you feel you're out of his league, period. He don't resent you. Now, he might resent the crazy way you talk to him. Like, you should not talk to your enemy you shouldn't talk to anyone the way you talk to him. So, sis, you're the one doing the resenting. You're the one who rewarded him for his lies, because you said he lied about who he was, but you're already in love. Like, grown-ups, like, yo, you don't fall in love, you stand in love, my friend. My G, stand in love, don't fall in love. Like, you see something wrong, walk away. Walk. Put your hat on and walk. What's that movie that Robert De Niro did? It was like a drug movie. Fell in love with this lady, but it always told her, never acquire anything you can't leave in 5 seconds flat. I can't remember the name of the movie. And at the end of the movie, you know, it gets them, he and the lady are meant to be meeting somewhere in front of a bank or somewhere, and then he notices, he's meant to pick her up, and he notices that she's surrounded by undercover police, and he drove past her and she saw him and he saw her. Boom. So yeah, period. Like, stand in love, yo. Walk away. Like, yeah, it's not feeding you. I'm not saying, you know, fall in love with, you know, be in love with someone and walk away. In fact, but yeah, don't be so in love that is toxic for you, and you're poisoned and you're dying, but you still say, I'm in love. Nah, my G, that's God didn't create love for that. He didn't create love for you to do that blind, dumb love. Nah, he didn't create that. So stand in love, sisters. Stand in love. Ken starts defending himself, that, and that's when her age comes up, because I did say that I felt she was at least in her 30s. That, yeah, you're a 40-year-old woman. Like, if I wasn't doing anything right, I won't be here. I must be doing something right. Ooh, that's he hit back. And he must know that might be a sore point for her. He's probably younger. I think he's younger than her. So, like, he's trying to hit back now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they bring out the worst in each other. She probably might be a really nice lady and he might be a really nice man, but some people just bring out the worst in each other, and that's what's going on with them right now. So they have their date nights. You know, she's dressed up, he's dressed up. You know, they go somewhere nice. He laid it on thick, like he just wants to be in La La Land. And even in kindergarten, the kids are not in La La Land all the time. They're beefing, they're throwing rattles, they're throwing snacks, they're stealing each other's snacks, they're knocking each other out. That's why they have, you know, a teacher ratio of maybe 1 to 4, 1 to 5, because these kids will be wilding out. It's like Animal Kingdom. So if it's like Animal Kingdom in kindergarten, be rest assured for adults, it's Animal Kingdom. La La Land is La La Land. That when you sleep, and even in your sleep, sometimes zombies could be chasing you. So La La Land is a figment of our imagination, because La La Land don't exist. Like, you need to be on your P's and Q's at all times. Like, you can get a minute of rest, you can get an hour, 2 of rest, or maybe a couple more. But Lolamdonline is not a constant place. It's not a destination. So Lolamdonline is not a destination. So, you know, he's like, oh, let's remember the good old times. Anyway, he got carried away. He tried to kiss on camera, man. She rebuffed him like she didn't know him. She rebuffed him like he was one of the dates. I'm like, ouch. You know, she said something about, yeah, they don't communicate. He's scared of her, so he don't speak up. And I think that finally peeved him off. So he came for her. Like, he came for her clean. I don't remember what he said, but she felt like, ooh, like she wasn't sure if she was excited or mad. She's like turned on because, oh, finally he's standing up for himself. There you go. You see, Kenneth, she wants you to stand up for yourself. Act like your back work. Do this. And at the same time, that she confused, like she won't be mad that what he's standing up to me, like. Can't win for losing, Kenneth. This is not the place for you right now. Even if you guys are meant to be together, you all need a timeout. And here we are. It's like, you know, I'm just saying at this point, like, she's trying hard to give him away. Remember a long time ago, I worked for this company in Philly. It was just like an advertising company. And you know, Snapple had some new flavors. Like, we couldn't give out those flavors fast enough. Like, she trying to give him away. Like, we were like, hey, you want a new Snapple? This was Center City down in Philly. Hey, you want a Snapple? Like, she's like, yo, sis, you want this right here? Look, this is a giveaway for free. Just pick it up now. So it looked like she's trying to get rid of you. I need you to find you. Like, I hope that he's getting the help he needs. Because she's done. But anyway, guys, like, we got to the end of this episode already. It's part 1, so we haven't seen the others, you know, meet up with their families. I need to see Kenneth and see why Kenneth is the way he is. I need to see, you know, what's her name's family, Shorty family, and see why she's the way she is. Charly, yeah, all these. I need to, yo, what's his name? Rick Ross Jr. brother. I need to see why he thinks that he needs to mimic Rick Ross and not maybe mimic a family member. Look, guys, we're at the end of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching till the end. See you in the next video. I'll see you in part 2 because it's getting good. Lola, over and out.